Forest rangers in the Bitterroot Mountains say you can tell when wolves are nearby. The forest doesn't go quiet. It gets careful. Sarah Keller heard it at 4:47 p.m. Birds still calling, but from higher branches. Squirrels frozen mid-climb. The entire mountainside holding its breath. She didn't know what it meant yet. But 30 feet behind her, 7 pairs of eyes had already locked on her injured leg. Optional. The backpack was found 3 days later, shredded beyond recognition. Teeth marks punched clean through the waterproof fabric. A phone crushed into fragments. Car keys scattered across 50 feet of forest floor. Park rangers cataloged it as wildlife incident, non-fatal. But what they didn't write in the report was the question that kept the lead investigator away. If the wolves destroyed everything in the pack, why did they let the woman walk away? This is that story, and it's not the one you're expecting. Sarah Keller was 26 years old and had been photographing wolves professionally for 3 years. She documented pack behavior across 5 states, published in wildlife journals, taught wilderness safety courses. She knew wolves, which is why what happened on October 14th matters, because Sarah wasn't naive. The fall happened at 2:30 p.m. on the Bitterroot Trail. Loose shale, missed footing, 15-foot slide down a ravine. Her left ankle took the impact wrong, the kind of wrong that makes your vision white out for 10 seconds. When the pain subsided enough to think, Sarah assessed severe sprain, possibly fracture, deep laceration on her calf, bleeding steadily but not arterial. She could walk, barely. Her truck was 4 miles northeast. Daylight would last another 2.5 hours. She had her day packed: 2 protein bars, half a sandwich, water, first aid kit, bear spray, phone at 23% with no signal. The math was tight but survivable. She started walking at 2:47 p.m., following a creek bed downhill like her training taught her. Every step on the injured ankle sent lightning up her leg, but she kept moving. Pain was temporary. Hypothermia was permanent. By 4:30, Sarah realized she'd gotten turned around. The mountains all looked the same in afternoon light. Her compass said northeast, but the terrain wasn't matching her mental map. She stopped to reorient. That's when the forest changed. Birds went quiet. Not silent, quiet, calling from higher branches farther away. A squirrel froze mid-climb 30 feet up a pine, pressed flat against bark. Sarah had spent 3 years in wolf territory. She knew what that meant. She reached for the bear spray on her belt and turned around slowly. 7 wolves stood in a loose line, 40 feet behind her, and they've been following her for God knows how long. Here's what most people get wrong about wolves. They think the danger is obvious. Snarling, aggressive, teeth-bared. Real wolves are quiet. They assess. They calculate. The pack Sarah was looking at wasn't posturing. They were studying her like a problem they were deciding how to solve. 3 males for females. The alpha female was obvious. Larger frame, scarred muzzle, absolute confidence in her movement. But what Sarah noticed immediately was their condition. They were thin, not starving, but lean. Ribs visible beneath winter coats. The kind of hungry that makes predators reconsider their usual boundaries. Sarah knew the statistics. Wolf attacks on humans are rare. Fewer than 20 documented cases in North America in the last century. Wolves avoid people, but those statistics include a footnote nobody mentions. Attacks increase when prey is scarce and when humans display vulnerability. Sarah was bleeding, limping, alone, in their territory, at dusk. She was exactly the kind of vulnerability that changes predator behavior. The alpha female took 3 steps forward. Not aggressive, exploratory, testing distance. The other wolves adjusted position automatically, spreading into a loose semicircle. Sarah knew what this was. She photographed it 100 times from the safety of a vehicle, flanking behavior. The formation wolves used before a hunt. Her hand tightened on the bear spray. 15-foot range. 1, maybe 2-second burst. 7 wolves. The math was bad. She tried the standard protocol. Made herself large, raised her arms, used her voice. Hey, back off. Go on. The wolves didn't flinch. One of the younger males, lean, agitated, took 4 steps forward. His lips pulled back slightly. Not a full snarl, just possibility. Sarah's training said, don't run, don't turn your back, maintain eye contact, show you're not prey. But her experience said something else. These wolves had already decided she was prey. They were just deciding if she was worth the risk. The alpha was 30 feet away now, close enough that Sarah could see the amber in her eyes, could see the muscle tension in her shoulders, could see the way her gaze kept flicking to Sarah's injured leg. Blood, weakness, opportunity. This wasn't a curiosity encounter. This was a hunt in its opening phase. And Sarah had about 30 seconds before it moved to the next phase. The young male lunged forward 10 feet. Stopped. A test. Sarah's finger moved to the bear spray trigger. She didn't press it. Not yet. Deploy too early, and you waste your only weapon. Deploy too late, and you don't deploy at all. She aimed at the young male. He stared back. Behind him, the alpha watched, calculating. This is where people misunderstand wolf attacks. They think it's about aggression. It's not. It's about math. Risk versus reward. Calories gained versus calories spent, and potential injury. A healthy adult human can injure a wolf. Broken jaw, damaged eyes, shattered ribs. Injuries that mean starvation later. But an injured human? The math changes. Sarah's ankle gave out, just for a second. Her weight shifted wrong. She caught herself, regained balance. Half a second of instability. The wolves saw it. Every one of them. Heads snapped toward the movement. The young male surged forward another 5 feet. Now he was 20 feet away. Bear spray range. Sarah raised the canister higher. Back. Off. The wolf didn't back off. He lowered his head slightly. Shoulders bunched. Every muscle in his body said, I'm about to move. The other 6 wolves went still, waiting. One commits, all commit. Sarah's heart was hitting her ribs like a hammer. Her injured leg was shaking from holding weight. Sweat ran down her back despite the cold. She was about to spray, about to turn 7 hungry wolves into 7 angry, temporarily blind, highly motivated wolves, with 4 miles between her and safety. In the dark, that's when her backpack shifted. The weight distribution changed as she tensed. And inside the pack, something crinkled. Plastic, food wrappers. One of the wolves reacted, not to Sarah, to the sound. Its ears rotated forward like radar dishes. Head tilted, focused entirely on the backpack. Then another wolf heard it. Then a third. The alpha's gaze shifted, just for a second, from Sarah's face to the pack on her shoulders. And Sarah understood. They weren't hunting her because she was easy. They were hunting her because they were hungry. And she was carrying something they wanted that didn't fight back. Every wilderness survival course teaches the same thing. Never feed wild animals. It habituates them to humans, makes them dangerous, creates problem animals that have to be destroyed. Sarah had taught that principle herself to dozens of hiking groups. But wilderness survival courses are taught in classrooms by instructors who go home at night. Sarah was standing in a darkening forest with 7 wolves, deciding whether attacking her was worth the risk. And her survival instincts were screaming, make it not worth the risk. Her hand moved to the backpack strap. Slow, deliberate. The wolves tensed. She didn't make sudden movements, didn't turn away, didn't run. She lifted the pack off her shoulders, held it in front of her like a barrier. And then, still facing the wolves, still maintaining eye contact, she lowered it to the ground. 3 feet in front of her, between her and the young male's eyes locked onto it. The alpha's ears went forward. Sarah took 1 step backward, slow, controlled, then another. The wolves didn't move, frozen between 2 impulses: pursue the retreating human or investigate the object she left behind. Sarah took a 3rd step, 4th, 6 feet of distance now, 8. Her injured ankle screamed with every step. The pain was white hot, threatening to buckle her knee. She locked it straight and kept moving. 10 feet, 12. The young male broke. He surged forward, not toward Sarah, toward the pack. He grabbed it with his teeth and shook. The zipper broke. Food scattered across the ground. The other wolves erupted. Suddenly, it wasn't a hunt. It was a feeding frenzy. 7 animals fighting over 2 protein bars, a sandwich, a bag of trail mix. Snarling, snapping at each other. The alpha female shouldered 2 smaller wolves aside, claimed the sandwich. The young male got a protein bar. Others scrambled for scraps. Sarah didn't run, but she moved 15 feet, 20, 30. She used trees for cover, kept her eyes on the pack as long as she could. The wolves were fully engaged now, too focused on food to track her. At 50 feet, Sarah finally turned her back and walked as fast as her ruined ankle would allow. Behind her, 7 wolves ate her lunch and didn't follow. Sarah covered a 1/4 mile before she let herself stop, found a boulder, pressed her back against it, and allowed herself to shake. Her phone was gone. Her first aid supplies were gone. Her car keys were in that pack, but her bear spray was still on her belt, and she was alive. She gave herself 30 seconds. Then she kept moving, followed the creek downhill, used the last light to navigate. When darkness came, she used her phone's dying flashlight, until it hit 5%, and she shut it off to save it for emergencies. She walked in the dark, listening, waiting for the sound of wolves, realizing the food was gone, and remembering the human. They never came. At 7:15 p.m., Sarah reached a logging road, flagged down a ranger's truck. The ranger took one look at her ankle and called for an ambulance. Asked what happened. Got lost. Fell. Made out. She didn't mention the wolves. Not in the moment, because she knew what people would say. Oh, they weren't really going to attack. You overreacted. Wolves don't do that. People who've never been hunted always think the danger was exaggerated. The hospital in Missoula kept Sarah overnight. Severe sprain, 14 stitches in her calf, mild dehydration. They asked if she wanted to file a report about aggressive wildlife. She said no. 2 days later, a park ranger found her backpack, or what was left of it. The photos he sent to the Wildlife Management Office showed shredded nylon, a destroyed phone crushed under jaw pressure, and distinctive canine tooth punctures through the frame. The biologist who reviewed the case wrote in her report, "Pack demonstrated typical opportunistic feeding behavior. No evidence of sustained pursuit post-food acquisition. Subject made appropriate decision to surrender resource rather than defend. Likely prevented defensive attack." Translation: Sarah survived because she chose correctly. She didn't try to fight 7 wolves. She didn't run and trigger their chase response. She didn't freeze and become an easy target. She gave them what they wanted more than they wanted to fight her for. 3 weeks later, Sarah went back to work. Different location, different pack. People asked if she was afraid of wolves now. She said, "I was always afraid of wolves. Fear isn't the problem. Fear is appropriate. They're apex predators." What changed wasn't her fear. It was her understanding that fear and respect aren't the same as paralysis. The pack she encountered that day, wildlife cameras tracked them for the next 6 months. They stayed in the area, hunted successfully, no incidents with humans. Not because they learned anything about kindness or connection, because the elk herd moved back into their territory and they didn't need to take risks anymore. 6 months after the encounter, a wildlife journalist interviewed Sarah for an article about wolf recovery programs. He asked, "Do you think the wolves spared you?" Sarah's answer was immediate. "No. I think they chose protein bars over a fight. Wolves don't spare people. They make decisions based on cost and benefit. I just made sure the cost was too high and the benefit was available without the cost." The journalist pressed, "But you formed a connection with them in that moment, didn't you?" Sarah looked at him like he'd missed the entire point. "No, there was no connection. There was a transaction. I had food. They wanted food. I gave them food in exchange for not having to fight them. That's not connection. That's negotiation." She paused, then added, "People want these stories to be about animals recognizing our humanity, about nature rewarding our goodness. But that's not what happened. What happened was 7 wild predators encountered an injured human and decided that eating her supplies was easier than eating her. That's not a miracle. That's just wolves being wolves." The article ran with a different quote, something about the spiritual bond between humans and wildlife. Sarah never gave another interview. 3 years later, Sarah still photographs, still teaches wilderness safety, still carries bear spray and protein bars in her day pack. She's never seen that pack again, doesn't try to, doesn't track them, doesn't wonder if they remember her, because they don't. To those wolves, Sarah was a moment, a decision point, a brief calculation of risk and reward that ended with food and no injury. She wasn't their friend. She wasn't their enemy. She was just a human who understood what they... And sometimes, that understanding is the only thing that keeps you alive. The question isn't whether wolves are dangerous. They are. They're predators. The question is, when you meet danger in the wild, do you understand it well enough to survive it? Sarah did. That's the whole story. Have you ever had to give up everything just to survive?